All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Sound Vision's Islaminar, Learn to Become an Online Teacher. Sound Vision has been bringing leading quality content for almost 3 decades to the North American Muslims and has now become a pioneer in professional development trainings. In these uncertain times when we are housebound, we cannot stop learning nor moving forward, and Sound Vision's team has been working long hours to adapt all our trainings to an online portal. I am Nargis Naqvi, your moderator for this webinar and the Director of Training with Sound Vision. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the generous donation to our webinars by WIT, which is an IT solutions company with offices in Michigan, Ohio, and Toronto. Before I introduce our presenter, I would like to point out a few housekeeping rules so we can have a streamlined experience, inshallah. At all times during the webinar, please keep yourselves on mute so we can have an uninterrupted session. You can use the chat box that will pop up on your right-hand side if you press the chat button on the bottom of your screen. I will take all your questions and we can get them answered at the end, inshallah. Now I'd like to introduce our trainer, Imran Nanlawala. Imran, Director of Digital Learning Partners, has been teaching online and facilitating online learning for over 10 years. He is a podcaster, YouTube content creator, and digital consultant. With a master's in higher education leadership and strong knowledge and experience in online learning, Imran provides strategy and consulting to many organizations, universities, and for-profit businesses regarding digital tools and online learning. Without further ado, I'd like to ask Mr. Imran Nanlawala to start his presentation.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well today on this beautiful Saturday. At least it's beautiful here in Chicago. I'd like to welcome all my fellow educators, fellow teachers, fellow faculty and staff from universities. Thank you for joining the webinar today. And without further ado, I'm going to start sharing my screen so we can begin. So just to get a confirmation, can everyone see my screen? If you can, type in the number 1. If you can see my screen, please type in the number 1. Okay, Sister Nargis, are we getting 1s or 2s?
We're getting 1s.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so as the sister mentioned, my name is Imran Nanlawala. I am the Director of Digital Learning Partners. I have 13 years of experience in higher education. I've worked at Northeastern Illinois University. I've worked at Truman Community College of Chicago, Bayina, and currently I also work with A Continuous Charity. I've had a variety of roles managing learning management systems, creating online and e-learning content, and business operations. To get straight to the outline of today's webinar, inshallah, we're going to be covering Google Classroom. We're going to cover some video conferencing and screen sharing softwares like Zoom, like Google Hangouts, and QuickTime. And the purpose of today's session is to experiment with new instructional formats and apply educational technologies to our classes. I do want to mention that this is an uncertain time for a lot of us. Some of us may be feeling uneasy with the new influx of technology that we're having to use. But I want to remind everyone that, inshallah, we should all try to be patient. And I can promise you and assure you that it is not as difficult as it seems and looks. And today we're just going to cover the basics. We're not going to go into anything very advanced or tricky today. We're going to figure out how we can set up a Google Classroom, how we can create a class, add documents and files to our Google Classroom, and how we can use programs such as Zoom, Google Hangouts, and QuickTime to record our screen, just as we are doing now. So, Sister Nargis, do I have permission to continue?
Yes, of course. Please go
Okay,
on.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So, a little bit about Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a free web service developed by Google for schools that aims to simplify creating, distributing, and grading assignments in a paperless way. So, if you have a Gmail account, it's as simple as Googling Google Classroom and clicking on the first link. If you work for a school, I highly recommend you guys check out Google for Education. It is free and it will give you expanded capabilities with Google Classroom. For example, it'll give you more storage space with Google Drive. It'll give you more functionality with Google Hangouts so you can have more attendees in your live sessions. So I'm going to go ahead for this demonstration and click on Google Classroom. and it's automatically syncing my Gmail account, which I'm already logged into, with Google Classroom. And again, for the purpose of this demonstration, I have created a few sample classes, which we will dive into in a few minutes. But I just wanted to show everyone how easy and nice and clean the interface is. Again, if we are not experienced or very, if we don't have a long tenure in teaching online, we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. We're not going to try to learn all the advanced features. We really want to utilize the simplest and most easy tools that we can to get our content online. And what is better than a free tool? So what we can simply do, and at any time, Sister Nargis, please jump in if there's any questions that are pertinent, but all we have to do is, as you can see, I am logged in via my email. I'm going to click on the plus sign, and I have two options now. I can either join a class or create a class. So for the purpose, again, of this presentation, we're not going to want to join a class. We want to learn. If I'm creating a Google Classroom, how can I create a class? So let's go ahead and create a class. All right, just for the sake of this demonstration, we're going to name it How to Teach Online 101 section. If I'm teaching multiple sections, I'm going to name this section 1. I can keep the subject blank. If it's not pertinent to include a room number, also go ahead and keep that blank. And let's go ahead and create this room. All right, it might take a few moments to go ahead and create it. So we will have to patiently wait while that is happening. Okay, great. So essentially now our room is created. All the hard work is done on the back end from Google. So a big shout out to Google. And we're going to take a look at this overview. So right now we're on the stream option. The best way I can describe to everyone what the stream is think about Facebook, think about Instagram, and think about this feed that you get. This main feed, which shows you all the highlights of your social media accounts, shows you who's posting, who's saying what. So the stream is essentially your announcement board in essence. This is where you're going to make class announcements. This is where everyone can see what you're announcing, what links you're sharing. You're also going to be able to see what the students are saying or mentioning or sharing. So it's a very pertinent place and area of Google Classroom. Very important is this class code. So anytime you create a class, you're going to want to click on this little icon, excuse me, and you're going to want to copy this code. This is a very important code to copy. This code is, in essence, what is going to allow your students to join your class. And again, we're going to cover that later on how they can join, whether it be via a web browser or the app that they can download. And as an instructor, you can also download the Google Classroom app, which is free. But once you create your class, this is how students join the class. And as I mentioned earlier, this is where you make announcements. So for example, I want to say, welcome to the first day of class. Please introduce yourselves here. Okay, so I can post this. Another pretty cool feature is if I don't want to post this right away, I can schedule it for a later time. As you see, very simple to schedule. I can also add a file. So maybe I want the students, instead of introducing themselves, maybe I say, welcome to your first day of class. Please watch this introductory video on XYZ, and you insert that link from YouTube or a file on your computer or a file on Google Drive. We're not going to do that now, but we'll do that shortly. And then also, if you don't want this announcement to go out to everyone, you can select the students that you want it to go out to. So right now, you're not seeing any other students because no other students are enrolled in this class. So we're going to go ahead and post this announcement. And voila, it's there. So again, just like think of Facebook, think of Twitter, think of Instagram, think of your feed that you can scroll down. It'll give you a date and a time of when something was posted. And that's one of the highlights. And you can insert links, you can respond to students, students can respond to you. So before I go over to the primary section, which is classwork up here, do we have any related questions so far?
Just a question. How are the students going to enroll in this class? You've created it, but how do they enroll? You send them a link?
So there's a few ways, and we can cover that more in detail later. So if I want to manually add a student, all I have to do is, again, let's do it one more time. From the stream, we click on the top where it says people. We click on the second icon with a plus sign that says students, and I can start typing in names, right? I can start typing in different names, and you see it automatically populates email addresses based on the email that you're signed in with. That is one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which I'll showcase later on, is when we created this class, and you know what, matter of fact, let me show you guys now. So we have our class right here, how to teach online. When we clicked on this plus sign right here, all you would do is click on join class, whether you're a teacher or a student, and then you would enter, copy and paste the code into this class code, and you would be able to join. So it's fairly simple. So the students have a few options. They can enter based on a web browser, so they can go to Google Classroom and they can sign into their Gmail account, and then they'll see essentially what I'm seeing right now in this screen, and they'll click on the plus sign. Alternatively, again, just for the demonstration showing my phone, you can download the app. The app is 100% free, Google Classroom app, and it's the same process. You're going to click on the plus sign and you're going to click on join class.
So a couple of people want you to zoom in your screen. I think it's a little smaller for them, maybe the font.
I'm going to try my hardest.
Another person is saying, can you, how is there, like, how do you make certain posts stay at the top of the page? I suppose under stream.
Sure. So usually the way it works is it's chronological, right? It happens in order, but what we can do is we can try pinning a post. So let's go ahead and try that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to post this now. Okay, so here it is. Unfortunately, it seems like you cannot pin post in the Google platform. Oh, here we go. So one thing that you can do, but you'll have to do it every time you post, is you're going to click on the three buttons to edit, and you're going to click on move to top. Does it move it to the top? Here, let's move this one to the top.
You might have to refresh.
Okay, there we go. It moved it to the top. So all you're going to have to do is click on the three buttons and click on move to top. If it's very important, and if you have 20, 30 different announcements and you need to pin a post or bring it to the top, just click on those three dots and click move to top. But my advice would be, in terms of best practice for yourself as instructors and teachers and facilitators of knowledge, along with the students, get in the habit of scrolling up and down. Also mention that to your students that they should scroll up and down. Sister, I'm trying to figure out a way to zoom in.
Somebody has said that you can, what did she say? You can make the video smaller and the screen share larger.
Does it look better now, everybody? Is it better? I zoomed in a little bit.
It is a little better, yes.
Okay, I don't know if I am able to do anything from my end over here. Yeah, I think in terms of screen sharing, it's essentially just sharing my screen, and all you should see of me is a small pod of my video in one of the corners.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to proceed now for the sake of time. So now that we've learned a little bit about the stream, we've learned about posting, responding to posts. We've also learned right here about sharing your class code. Let's look at the classwork section. So this is really going to be the bread and butter of your online learning management system, more or less. This is where you're going to put links to resources. This is where you're going to put documents. This is where you can share quizzes. This is where you can share links to live classes. So as you see, it says assign work to your class here. Create assignments and questions. Use topics to organize classwork into modules or units. Order work the way you want students to see it. So let's take it one step at a time. For best practice, I would click on create, and the first thing that I would do is click on topic. Okay, when you click on topic, this is going to give you now This is, think of a mother folder and subfolders. So now you're going to create a mother folder, and that can be, for example, we can label it week 1, right? Or we can call it chapter 1. This is going to be the mother folder that organizes everything under it. So right now, a lot of us are learning this technology already into the semester. So let's imagine now we're at week 15 of this semester. So I'm just going to label it week 15, and all, yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead.
Week 15 is going to be the mother folder, and we're going to put all the assignments and announcements and links under it. So we have now here week 15, and we're going to start creating different resources under it. So for example, let's say I have an assignment for my students. I'm just going to click on create. I'm going to click over on assignment, and what is the assignment? So for example, let's say it's a video 1 for week 15. Instructions: please watch the following video and share your thoughts on the stream. So how do I add a video? How do I add a video? So all I literally have to do is this. If I have a file on my computer, I'm just going to click on file. If I have something on the Google Drive, I'm going to click on Google Drive. It's going to automatically access my Google Drive, and I'm going to be able to click on the file. But for the purpose of this, this demonstration, I want to link to a YouTube video. So let's say we're talking about online learning. So we're going to say, let's say it's biology. Let's stick with biology. Okay, Bio 101 intro. I want to put a very quick introductory video for Bio 101. Okay, so I found one. And if it's the one that I want to include, all I'm going to do is hover over it, click on the video, and hit add. The video is already there, right? The videos are already there. YouTube and Google work seamlessly together because they're owned by one company, Google. So now I have the video here. Am I done? It's up to you. If you want to add more resources, you can. So for example, now we've added the video. We've asked them to share their comments on the stream. Let's say, for example, we wanted to create a quiz. So the really cool thing about Google and Google products is that if you have a Google or Gmail account and you open a Google Classroom, everything works natively, seamlessly together. So for example, if I want them to share their thoughts on a Google Doc instead, a Google document, they can do that. If I want to create a quiz, this is a very important feature. I would click on forms. So create a form, and you see now it's creating the form. It's opening the form, and I can say, I can name it chapter 15 quiz. Don't worry about linking it to chapter 15. Don't worry about linking it to Google Classroom. Since we're opening and creating this through Google Classroom, it's already going to be synced. It's already going to save everything to your Google Drive. Everything is going to be very easy to access. So some instructions: please answer the questions below. All right, so now I'm here on Google Form. I can say the first one can be a multiple choice. What is the boiling point of water? And I don't know that answer myself, so please forgive me. And then I can just start filling in the options. So I can say 100 Fahrenheit, 132 Fahrenheit, so on and so forth. So as an instructor, you can require that the students answer this by checking on required. You can also now start adding in more questions, and you have a litany of different question types. So you have short answer, paragraph, checkbox, file upload. Again, my advice is, if this is the first time that you are playing around with Google Classroom or online teaching, don't complicate it. Stick to the basics. Short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, or drop down. So a short answer would look like this. Please describe how a cell divides. Okay, I don't know myself, but that's one of the questions, and it's here. It's automatically here. I'm done adding questions to this form. I can go ahead and close it out. If I can just move this out of the way.
We do have a question
Good.
about how you can put the assignments in a particular folder. So if you wanted to go do that after this, and that
Sure.
would be great.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. I want to move. Okay, there we go. Let me move this to the bottom. So essentially, I'm done here. I can just close it out. And just for reference, when your students start responding, you're just going to click on responses. And you'll see everyone's response individually right over here. And if you wanted to export all the answers to an Excel sheet, a Google Excel sheet, a Google sheet, that's what you would do, right? So you would just click over here on create sheet, create new sheet, name it whatever you want. The sheet is there, and answers automatically start getting populated here. So you see there's a timestamp. You're going to know when any given student responded to it, and then you'll see in the specific columns, you'll see the answers. So we're done with the form for now. And what did I close it out? I believe I did. My apologies.
Can we connect it with Class Marker for the tests?
Is Class Marker a different app?
Sister Rania has been answering. So if Rania, if you wanted to ask that question again, is Class Marker an app or is that something else? Yes, she's saying it's a different app.
So, Sister Rania, what I'll say is that I don't know of that particular software, but the great thing about Google Classroom is it connects with hundreds of different apps. My advice by the end of this is go ahead, go sign into your Gmail account, create a class, and just start playing around with it. And my advice at this point would be, let's just figure out how we can create a Google Classroom, how we can add some files, how we can record our screen. What we're going to be doing next week is we're going to be covering some more of the advanced features of what we can do online. So for example, if I want my students to collaborate in an online learning environment, what are some ways I can facilitate collaboration? What are some ways that I can bring games or gamification into online learning? So we're going to keep that for our subsequent sessions, inshallah, God willing. So because I believe I logged out, or I X out of the screen, it essentially did not save my file, which is fine. It's very easy. We'll do it one more time. So video lesson, please watch, right? We're going to just speed through this, add a link, bio 101 intro. Let's add the video. And you guys saw literally 10 to 15 seconds, right? In terms of creating an assignment and adding a link. So do not feel afraid to experiment. You're not going to break anything. You're not going to damage anything. You can delete your class after you make a test class. If you wanted to delete it, you can delete it. If you want to keep it, you can keep it. So we're going to go ahead and we have a few options. Do I want to assign this assignment or do I want to schedule it? I will give my advice. If the assignment is something, if you're dealing with younger children, don't assign all of your assignments right away, schedule them out. Because if I'm a student and I go into the stream or I go into the classroom and I see 20 links and 20 different chapters, it might be very overwhelming. But if you're dealing with higher education or older students and you feel that these students are more autonomous, they can learn on their own, I would go ahead and if you want, you can assign them out. So we're gonna go ahead and assign this video. And okay, so now what it's done is it's created the lesson, but we did not create it under week 15. So what do we do now? We created a lesson, but it's not in the right location. All we have to do is click and drag it, and now it's under week 15. So again, topics are your mother folders, right? They're gonna be what house all your files and organize your view. Same thing with week 16. I can put it under week 15, right? And now I have a breakdown by week. I can put files in by week. And just to show you a few more examples of what we can do. So we're going to go back under week 15 and I want to add some more files. So let's create, let's go ahead and create some materials. So week 16 PDF. Please read the following PDF and share your answers in the Google Doc. So now we've mentioned that we're going to have a PDF. So we can either create one by attaching a Google document, or if we have an actual file, we're going to link to it. I don't have a file that I can put, or maybe I can for the sake of this presentation. So let's hypothetically say we linked a document. The document is there. Now we want to create a Google, PDF. Now we want to create a Google document, which is going to allow the students to respond to whatever questions we're asking, right? So we're going to call this week 16 student discussion board, right? We can act like it's a discussion board. So I'm going to give my instructions here. Please share your reflections here. Please also label your name. So example, I'll put Imran. So I know, so the teacher knows who's responding, and then my response, blah, 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 blah. So pretty straightforward if you ask me, right? And now we can add, so to week 16, we can add multiple documents or file types for this PDF. If I wanted to create something else, if I wanted to create a shared presentation, I could just click on Google Slides. If I wanted to add an Excel sheet, I could do that. If I wanted to add another file, another video, I could do that. So for example, my students don't know how to use Google Doc. So I can go to YouTube, how to use Google Doc. All right, so beginner's guide to Google Documents. Okay, this is exactly what I want to give them so that they can go ahead and finish this assignment. I'm ready to publish this and post it. I don't want to schedule it. I'm just going to go ahead and post it. It's right over there. And I want to put it under week 16. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag. And that's it. We have a generic breakdown of a class. We've gone over how to add other teachers or other students. And then also very important, right? If we want to set up our gradebook, you're going to have to do that from the settings. So look over, let's do it one more time. We have the settings icon, the gear right here on the right-hand side. You can go ahead and click on it. And you see now I have my class details, how to teach online 101, even though we were inserting links for biology. Here's my class code. I have some settings. Students can post and comment on the stream. I say yes, I trust my students. They can post and stream. Maybe if you have younger students and you want to limit it to only your own post, you can go ahead and do that. Grade calculation. So how do you want to calculate your grades? Is it going to be weighted by category, or do you want to assign points? For now, we'll say we'll go by points. Do we want to be able to show the grades to the students? I'm going to say that I don't want to for now. So anytime you mess with the settings or you adjust the settings, please go ahead and click on save. And here's our stream. So the stream is also going to show every change that we've done. Our stream is going to show that the instructor, in this case me, has posted a new assignment, a PDF, so that way the students can stay on top of what is being done. Sister Nargis, any pertinent questions thus far? I know I'm covering a lot.
A lot of questions. Okay. So I'll start with the last because that's what I think for me.
Sure.
If I create an assignment in Google Docs, how do I assign one document to different students?
That's an excellent question. Let me go back. So if I'm understanding correctly, you want each student to have their own document. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, it should have automatically done that, and that's a great question. I don't know why it didn't, but let's go to that. And it possibly could be because I don't have any students in my class, but it's supposed to go ahead and do that. All right, so I'm gonna go to my other class that I created already, where I know that I was able to set that up. So let me go to my Introduction to Leadership class. Let me see, do I have anybody here? I do not. Okay, so just for the sake of this demonstration, I already created a class to kind of give a demonstration on what a more completed class looks like. So here you can see, and I'll answer that question specifically, but I broke this class down according to units. So when I created a topic, I labeled them units. I also created a welcome activity. So you can see PDFs, readings. So let me go back here. Oops. Nope.
You are going to do Zoom and all the other stuff too, right? Somebody's
Correct.
asking.
Correct. So let me go ahead and try adding a document. So essentially what I'm doing now, we're supposed to get the option right here. So as soon as I said, oh, you know what? I think I made the mistake. Let me go back to that link. So right here. So I just want to make sure, can everybody still see my screen? Hit 1 for yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So right here, we can title it. We can give the instructions. And obviously here we have the actual document where they can share their thoughts. But what you're going to want to do is click on this drop down arrow right here. And you're going to want to click on make a copy for each student. Now let's quickly discuss the pros and the cons. If this is confidential writing, if this is writing that each individual student has to submit, then you're going to click make a copy for each student. But if this is more of a discussion, a collaborative work, you want students to, see what the others have written and respond to it, then you're not going to want to do that. You're going to want to give students the ability to edit and contribute. But again, if it's confidential writing and there's some laws in place or something in place where information cannot be shared, all you're going to want to do is click on make a copy for each student, and that's it. Each student, when they get access to this, it's automatically going to create a copy of it for them. And as I mentioned earlier, which we can look at later on, is this is all going to be put under a your Google Drive. It's going to be put under a particular folder, and everything will be organized for you automatically. So you won't have to worry about that. Okay.
Did you want me to do the Google Classroom questions now, or would you like me to do them all the way at the end?
We can take a few, inshallah. I might answer some, and I might defer and say that we might answer those at the end, or we may answer that next week, so no problem.
So if a masjid has one account, but they have several schools, can they have different classrooms, like different accounts under those schools? One G Suite?
Yeah, so essentially, for example, let me see if I can go back to the home screen. So what you would do, right? If I'm one organization, say I am Islamic Organization of Chicago, right? I can have a Google Classroom account for Islamic Organization of Chicago, and I can have different classes, just like you see here. I have different classes. So what you would do is you would give access to a particular class to a particular administrator or teacher, instructor, what have you. The other thing that is very important to know is if you're a nonprofit organization and if you're an educational organization, please talk to your IT professional, talk to your masjid or your nonprofit administrator about Google for Classroom. I'm sorry, Google for Education. The Google for Education grant will give you a lot of features for free, and it will be even more expanded than this. But I know I answered that in a very long about way, but yes, you can definitely make some distinctions in who is teaching and who has access.
Okay. Somebody wants to know how you can actually link it to your IXL or Khan Academy.
How you can?
Connect it to Khan Academy or IXL? I don't know. Okay.
So when you say Khan Academy, I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Are you trying to link Khan Academy videos to your class like we did with the YouTube videos? Or do you want to have a link for Khan Academy in the Google Classroom. So when the student clicks on it, they're taken to their Khan Academy account. Is that what is being asked?
So Hamza Aldaf, you asked that question. He's saying both.
Okay, so if you're trying to link to a video, it's as simple as let's go to the leadership one, going to classwork, create whether you want to call it a question, material, or an assignment. They literally all do the same thing, right? I can say Khan Academy link for chapter 11, right? So here what you can do is you can literally add a link. If it's on YouTube, you just add the YouTube link. If it's a URL, you're going to go ahead and add the URL here. Now, if you're talking about a more complicated way in terms of some seamless integration that takes you from Google Classroom to Khan Academy, I'll be very honest. Like I mentioned earlier, there are hundreds of integrations for Google Classroom. I primarily focus in higher education, so I have not played around with a lot of the applications for elementary school and whatnot. However, in our advanced sessions that we're going to be doing in the coming week and the coming weeks, we can cover some more of these advanced features. I also recommend, as I mentioned earlier, go ahead, give it a go, give it a test drive. You can go ahead and play around with these features. Something that I did forget to mention earlier, please, when you're making an assignment or a quiz and you want to assign point values, please don't forget to go ahead and take care of that here, right? And then you can also select if this assignment is for multiple students, all students, or particular students. You can give it a point value or mention that is ungraded. You can also assign a due date based on your calendar. So for the sake of time, and because I want to also leave time for questions, I want to show you something that I find very cool and very interesting, which is, if you can all see this Google Calendar link. You guys, everyone see it? Press 1 if you do.
Yes.
Okay. The reason I'm bringing up Google Calendar, as I mentioned earlier, Google products work seamlessly together. Why am I mentioning this? Now we've talked about online learning in terms of a platform, but say I want to have video sessions, collaborative sessions, live or recorded. You can do that natively, especially if you have a nonprofit organization or Google for Education. You can have about, I think, over 250 students or viewers in a Google Hangout session. So like Zoom, you have many competitors. You have Zoom, you have WebEx, you have Bongo, and you have Google Hangouts Meet. So Google Hangouts Meet is a little bit different from Zoom. It doesn't have the same features, but the benefit is that it works natively with your Google account. So say hypothetically, I wanted to create a live session this Thursday, this coming Thursday. I want my students all to meet live, right? So I'm going to click on my Google Calendar right here. Okay. And then I am on Saturday. So on Thursday, I'm going to click. I'm going to give it a title, live session for math, right? And then I'm going to give it a time. So I'm going to say 3 p.m. is fine. I'm not going to add any guests because my students will be able to enter the room. And the most important thing that you all want to do here is, now that I've given it a title and a time, you want to add location or conferencing. So go ahead and click on that. Click on conferencing again, and voila. Automatically, it's created a Google Hangout session, and it says up to 250 participants. I'm going to click on the drop-down menu, and I'm going to click, I'm going to copy this information over. I'm going to save this. And here I have, at 3 p.m. for Thursday, I have scheduled a live session for my math class. The students will be able to click on the link. Everyone will be in the room. You can all see each other. You can all talk to one another. The instructor can share their screen. Now, definitely on the back end, you have to make sure that if you want to be able to record these sessions, you enable it. My advice is, depending on which country you're living in and what state and what laws you have, I would not enable recording because there could be legal ramifications for doing so. So I would go ahead and keep that feature off. But again, the benefit is in Google Classroom, in your Gmail account, you have Microsoft, their version of Microsoft Word, Google Documents, you have Google Sheets, you have Google Form, you have Google Hangouts, you have a complete system in one package. So now, to make it even clearer for my students that we have this session, I'm gonna go back to my class. I can add this as a file if I liked. I could create a file, but for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add this to the stream. So I'm gonna say, okay, make sure we're in the right class. So we're in the right class, Introduction to Leadership. I'm gonna say, please use this link for this Thursday's live class. Okay, so here's the link. I'm gonna post it. You know, my mistake, it wasn't a link, so they're gonna have to copy and paste it. But what you can do for your students is make it into a hyperlink, so all they have to do is click. Another benefit, if a student, for example, we have to be concerned about educational access. We cannot assume that all of our students have Wi-Fi, strong Wi-Fi, access to devices or phones, right? So what Google has done, which is really cool, just like Zoom and WebEx, is students can actually punch in this number, punch in the PIN code, and they can attend via their phone. So they can listen into the class as opposed to viewing it through the app. And what would happen from the instructor's point of view is when you launch the class, here's what's going to happen. Yes, allow, no problem. Let me turn off my mic so there's no echo. So it's checking my system right now. Is my mic working? Yes. Is my camera working? Yes. Okay, no one is here yet. So you're also going to see who has joined the class so far. And you can join or present. So if I want to present my screen, click on present. If you just like to join and enable it like a waiting room, you can see now I'm in here. Let me see what I can show you. I have the options to present my screen, right? I can present my entire screen or my window. I can, let me move this out of the way. I can change my layout. I can record. What I find very beneficial, I know some brothers who are hearing impaired, they're deaf. And I was speaking to one of the brothers from a very beautiful organization called Nur for Sign last week. And they were mentioning the difficulties they have in terms of finding jobs. So he was mentioning that they actually, for job interviews, they use Google Hangouts because, I'm sorry, this is going to create an echo for a few seconds, but I want to demonstrate a point that Google has a very innovative captioning system. So this is actually very, very effective, and it also increases educational access, because if somebody is hearing impaired, if someone can't hear properly, if you're a mother, a father, and you're busy watching your kids, whatever have you, you cannot actively listen, but if you can read, that's an option for you. So I'm going to end this, and I'm also going to show everyone Zoom. But in terms of Google Hangouts, do we have any questions? I know we're speeding over things a little bit. I have some good news for you at the end, so you can revisit some of this information. But do we have any questions about Google Hangout?
There are quite a lot of questions, and as you're just mentioning, we do need to move on. So what we're going to do is let's have breakout opportunities for trainings, and we can have lesser people so they can actually ask their questions in each training. So you could do maybe more small group training for this in the future.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned to everyone, please be patient with us. This is the first time we're launching this. Usually, as I was mentioning to our beloved brothers and sisters at Sound Vision, when we have these type of trainings at the university level, we try to keep the attendees below 30, because we know people enjoy the engagement. People enjoy the fact that they can interact with the presenter. But I think right now I can't see how many people are in the room, but I'm assuming we have maybe over 150 participants. May Allah reward you. How much is it?
207 people.
207 people. So thank you for your patience, inshallah. But we're gonna have more of these sessions. We'll have more smaller sessions, and we'll also create asynchronous opportunities for everyone to benefit from these online learning sessions. So let me cover Zoom real quick. I'll cover Zoom and I'll cover QuickTime, and then we'll give a good 10 minutes, inshallah, for Q&A, and then maybe we can take some more time. So what we're using, the platform that we're using today is called Zoom. And how easy is it to sign up for a Zoom account, and why should we sign up for a Zoom account? So I've already gone to the website zoom.us. Now I want to sign up for an account. How easy is it? So you're either going to click sign up, it's free, or you're going to click sign in. I've already created an account, but it's the same steps. So let's click on sign in. Now I have the option of using my email address and password to sign in. This is literally the same way you would create an account, but what I'm going to do is sign in with Google. This is the same step you would do to create an account. You would say create with Google. I create it. Voila, it's already there. There's no nitty-gritty hard work. It's already created an account for you. And now we're going to keep this very simple. We're not going to look at all the options, all the tabs. We're just going to focus on one tab. So if you want to keep a free account, just keep it on meetings. Don't worry about webinars, recording, settings, profile. We're going to keep it on the meetings option. Now, why would you use Zoom? So if you got, I don't know how much of my screen you can see, but Sister Nargis, can they see the bottom here where it says mute, stop video, Q&A?
No, they can't.
Okay, so on the bottom of my screen, because I'm using Zoom right now, I have essentially a cursor, like a marker where I can move around the screen. I have something where I can annotate the screen. I can capture and record my screen. I also have a whiteboard feature. Let me see if I can open that up over here. I don't think I can because I'm not the main presenter, but anyways, if you guys wanted to use a whiteboard, a digital whiteboard, if you wanted to record your screen, if you wanted to be able to type and have that recorded, if you wanted to also add participants to that meeting, have someone else present with you, my advice would be Zoom is very good, and what Zoom does that Google doesn't do natively is it has a whiteboard feature built in. So to set up a screen recording, all you're going to do is click on schedule a new meeting. Call it whatever you want. Don't worry about anything else. You're not going to worry about any of this other information. You do have a 40-minute limit now to record because so many people are using Zoom. But essentially, all you want to do, since nobody's going to join this session, you're just using it to record your screen. You're going to go all the way to the bottom, and you're going to hit save. And then you're going to click start this meeting. Now, Sister Nargis, for the purpose of this meeting, I'm going to try to start it. If it kicks me out, I'll rejoin our meeting, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, no,
right.
That's fine.
So I want to show you guys how easy it is, right? We set it up very quickly in under a minute. We scrolled all the way down. We saved the settings, which were already preset. And all we have to do is click on start this meeting.
Imran, I can also make you a co-host if you wanted to show the whiteboard.
Sure. Let's try that at first. Okay, so great. So can you guys see everything that just came up?
Yeah, it's like a white document, like a white. Yeah.
So the cool thing about Zoom is if you want to share only a particular application in your computer, you don't want to share your whole desktop. You have your own files, your own images, whatever what have you. You want to share just a particular browser, it lets you do that. If you wanted to connect your phone, right? It lets you connect your phone via a cable or AirPlay, and it gives you a whiteboard. All right, let me close this. 1 second. Can everybody see my whiteboard?
Oh, yes.
Right, so hello, right? You can literally draw, you can make arrows, you can illustrate points, you can actually have a PDF document or something open, you can start annotating it, you can start drawing on it. I have an eraser. Okay, I don't like how I made this, let me erase all these things. Very easy to erase. I can put in a text box, hello, right? So you have a digital whiteboard. You can also save by the end of it, if you liked and you enjoyed the image that you created, you can save it. But again, the benefit is what? I can record my screen while I'm doing this. I can save the file. And then if I wanted to upload that file into Google Classroom, I could do that. For the sake of time, we're going to move on. And I'm going to show you one more thing. God willing, inshallah, it works just fine. So if you are a owner of a Mac or Apple product, you have QuickTime preloaded into your computer. So, sorry about that.
Does the whiteboard option come with the free account?
It does. It does. Yeah. Some of the features definitely will not come with the free account. For example, like being able to do webinars online, to have X amount of guests, to live stream to different platforms. But if you have the free account, you'll have the 40-minute limit. You can still record your screen and you'll still have a whiteboard. Can you guys see my drop-down menu right here where it says new movie recording, new audio recording?
We can't see your screen anymore.
You cannot see my screen. That's excellent. Give me 1 second. I am trying to open this up again. Okay, here it is. Give me 1 second. For whatever reason, it seems like it's not allowing me, sister, to to share my screen.
Oh, really? Even though
Yeah.
you're co-host.
Okay, now I'm back. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Let me share my screen. Let me share my desktop. That's fine. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes, it's there.
All right, cool. Let's go to QuickTime. It's right over here. Okay, so can you guys see the drop-down menu right now? New movie recording, new audio recording?
Yes.
Okay, so if you have a Mac or an Apple product and you don't want to get Zoom, you don't want to use Google Hangouts, you have another free option. If you have an Apple or Mac, launch QuickTime, which is preloaded for free. Click on File and click on New Screen Recording. Click on New Screen Recording. So now I have the ability to record my screen, to record my face, to record my voice, and everything that I do. So for example, if I wanted to make a tutorial video on how to use the Google Classroom, I could use this file and just some features. So for example, it's going to ask you which microphone you want to use. I'm connected to an additional mic, so I would click on the snowball mic. You don't have to do that. Just make sure your microphone is inactive. And then you also have the options of turning on or off clicks. So when you click, do you want that noise to enter the recording? And that's it. And then all you're going to do is, let me launch that one more time. I'm so sorry. You're going to hit record. And it says click to record the full screen or drag to record part of your screen. So if I'm good to go and I want to record my entire screen, I'm just going to click. But I don't want to record my entire screen. I want to record just this document. So I'm going to click and drag like this. Okay, I'm going to click start recording. And it's recording. It's recording. So now that I'm done, I'm going to click on stop. Here the file is. Right, obviously there's nothing there because we didn't do anything. And
so this is for teachers, you're saying, to put down a lesson and teach it.
Yeah, so if you're in one of your flow states and you're making a lesson plan, or if you're designing something and you think this, you're having an aha moment. Let me just record my screen right now. I want to explain. I used to teach English. So if I'm wanting to teach complex versus compound sentences, so I could literally open Microsoft Word or Google Docs. I could launch QuickTime and record my screen. It's going to record what I'm doing on my screen and record my voice. And I say, all right, students, here's an example of a compound sentence. I can highlight the subject. I can highlight the verb. I save the file, right? So I'm gonna exit out, and it's gonna ask me to save. I'm gonna save, say test, whatever you want to call it, and you hit save, and that's literally it. You have this video file. You can put it on Google Drive. You can send it via email. And in the few minutes that we have left, I know we covered a lot. Please forgive me if I sped over anything. Thank you all for your patience, but I just wanted to point out a few things. Number one, do not feel under the gun. Do not feel that you have this insurmountable pressure on you. I promise there are organizations like Sound Vision, like Digital Learning Partners, that are trying to help and provide solutions, free solutions, that we don't even have to pay any subscriptions. We don't have to pay any fees. There are softwares like Google Classroom, which will make your online learning feasible and easy. There are screen recording softwares like Google Classroom, like Zoom, like QuickTime, that will help you record your screen. So I'm going to open up the floor to any questions at this point.
Okay, so I'm just going to read off the ones that I have down here.
Sure.
Okay, so one question was, what do you recommend for young children, preschool, and are you back on screen share?
I'm back on screen. I wanted to share. I forgot I had to share something.
Okay. Yeah, so what do you recommend for young children, preschool or pre-K? Which platform?
Sure. Before I answer that question and before people leave, I wanted to plug a few things. So inshallah, we're going to be doing more sessions with Sound Vision. So please look out for those emails. I also wanted to highlight a few resources that already exist. So right now, it's not just about learning in terms of online tools. It's about holistic learning. People are under a lot of stress. People are under a lot of pressure, and we don't know many things that we should be doing. So for that, I want you guys, if you get a chance, visit our website, www.thedlp.company/signup. That's thedlp.company/signup. If you guys sign up today, I'm going to share 2 free videos with you that summarize what we discussed today in short form. You guys will be able to pause it. You'll be able to watch it very slowly. You can do whatever you want with it. Just go ahead and sign up so I can give you those updates. And I also wanted to plug an organization that I work with called A Continuous Charity. We provide completely interest-free loans to students who are pursuing higher education. So if somebody wants to go to college and they can't afford $20,000 tuition and they don't want to take an interest-bearing loan, they come to acceducate.org. They apply for one of our loans, and if they get it, they get $20,000, and when they pay us back, they only pay us back $20,000. And right now we have a lot of free continuing education programs and webinars that we're doing. As you see on my screen, we had one amazing one with Brother Habib Qadri about putting everything in perspective. We had one with Sheikh Abdullah Aduro of Yaqeen Institute about staying fit from your home. We had one amazing one with Dr. Haifa Yunus of Jannah Institute. And we had one today with Sheikh Yasser Birjaz of Valley Ranch Islamic Center, who actually talked to us about all the benefits and all the good things that have come out of the current COVID situation. And lastly, I promise I won't plug any more things, is I have my personal podcast, The Wallaway, www.thewallaway.com. And I'm only plugging this because I believe in my heart that there is a benefit in the programming. I had a nutritionist on who talked about how to boost our immune systems so we can help resist COVID-19. He was someone who worked in a lot of AIDS and HIV clinics in the 90s. He's very competent. I'm not going to plug anything else, and I'll answer that question. So in terms of preschool and kindergarten, what my kids use, I have a preschooler. They use something called Seesaw, and that is what they've been using through our local school where Habib Qadri is the principal. So I would recommend taking a look at Seesaw. And from my understanding, this is something that preschool to I think about maybe 4th or 5th grade are using. And then from that point on, people are using Google Classroom. But I'm also going to mention that, look, there are a lot of free softwares out there. There used to be a time where you had only a handful of options. Now you literally have hundreds of options. So what I would say is don't get caught up in the details. Excuse me. Just go ahead and launch something. Start playing around with it. But if you come to, I know that at ACC, A Continuous Charity, they were putting together a resource guide for teachers. So if you go to acceducate.org by Monday, you're going to see a free resource guide for all teachers that demonstrate and showcase what are the different platforms that you can use.
Would you like me to start with the questions?
Please, I'm sorry, please.
Okay. Okay. That was actually pretty training, Brother
Thank you.
Imran.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so can a student without a Google account join, and if so, how?
Excellent question. So yes, you can join. I would not recommend it. When you have a Gmail account, there is a native integration with all of Google's products, and there's also additional security. But if your school sets up a Google for Class or Google for Educational grant, which is free, and you set up a Google Classroom, the administrator would have to go in and allow external participants. And if they do that, you can invite someone who has a Yahoo or a AOL account or whatnot. So yes.
Okay, and some people who ask this question is Google Classroom is for free, right?
Correct.
Okay. How do you contact parents in the Google Classroom? Is there a particular way to do that?
So you can actually add parents to the Google Classroom. So what I would do is, depending on their age level, I would add the parents to the Google Classroom. But also what I'm going to stress, because I'm not a specialist in elementary education, I would make sure that there are no legalities involved with enrolling parents into the classroom. But one thing that we're going to cover next week, and inshallah in the subsequent sessions, is what are the programs that work seamlessly, not seamlessly, but what are some of the integrations for Google Classroom? So God willing, we're going to cover some of those higher end questions, which are, how can parents get access to the Google Classroom without adding them to the Google Classroom?
Okay, great. And how can you use Google Classroom to create a math test that requires symbols?
Sister Najis, your voice is coming in a little muffled. I'm not sure if the microphone is covered.
Can you
Yes,
hear me
perfect.
now?
Perfect.
How can we use math tests that require symbols in Google Classroom?
That's gonna have to be elaborated. Like we
And
want.
I'm assuming, you know how we have trigonometry, or like we have geometry and you have symbols in math. I'm assuming their keyboard wouldn't have that option. So is a whiteboard available? Maybe something they can draw in, something manually done. Maybe the person who asked this question can ask it again.
I mean, if they're talking about calculation, something that like a calculator type software, I'm not sure. But for example, if you're using a Google document, right, you can enter the math equation using your keyboard, and there are ways to insert symbols into any document, right? There are additional keyboards that you can download online, and there are additional symbols. For example, when I use my phone and I'm sending a message through WhatsApp or my regular messages, I can click on the symbols button, and it opens up many different symbols. So if you're asking about symbols, I'm sure you can insert that into a Google document.
Somebody just answered that over here in the chat, saying that you can use a character map. So I'm hoping that that answers the question. Okay, Zoom versus Google Classroom. People are having concerns about Zoom being hacked. It's not safe. Do you have anything to say on that?
Well, it's definitely been hacked, and there's people who have been, as they're called, Zoom bombed. I personally, I still use it. I set up as much security as I can, meaning you can require a password, you can require authentication. So if you want to use Zoom, don't just keep it open. Go ahead and require people to register or create a password. But remember, the purpose of our presentation today was not to use Zoom as a collaborative tool. It was to use Zoom as a screen recording tool that allows you to have a whiteboard. If you want to use a collaborative tool, my personal opinion is set up the Google for Education account, or even if you don't, if you have a normal Google account, and communicate and dialogue with your students in Google Hangouts Meet.
Okay, and that would be a free account?
It's free.
Okay. Can you have two-way communication carried out in Google Classroom, just like right now, if you wanted to in Zoom?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And can multiple teachers have access to the same class?
Yes. So I shared that feature. So when we just remember, when you open the screen, you look at the right-hand side of Google Classroom, there's a plus sign, and you can add, I think it says add people. You can add an instructor.
And Google Hangouts, Google Meet, are they the same thing?
So from my understanding, there used to be Google Hangouts and there used to be Google Meet, and I think they became Google Hangouts Meet, or that's just how I'm referring to it. But now there's only one platform.
Okay, and recurring classes that happen and meet at the same time each week, they can be done through the Google Calendar as well?
Correct. You essentially, through your Google Calendar, you set it up for a recurring meeting.
Okay. How many more questions do you have time for?
We'll take a few more. I don't mind.
How can you stop participants from using the whiteboard feature while you're using it?
I don't believe the participants can use it. I think it's just in Zoom, it's just for the person who's controlling the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would actually suggest a lot of these questions, because people may not have either used the application or have not gone into depth. Maybe after this call, the people should start experimenting and come
Yes.
back next time with a lot more questions that you really couldn't figure out, right? So we are pretty much out of time at this point. I will be sending all of this information, the video recording of this via email as well. Any of the links, Brother Imran, if you could just that you mentioned today with all of the your podcast and all of that, then I'll send that to them as well, inshallah.
Sure.
One relevant question, a couple of questions coming up. How do you prevent cheating?
Sister, I'm sorry, you're breaking up again.
How do you prevent cheating in Google Class?
We had this meeting at the university last week, and we were discussing how do you prevent cheating, and in some ways it's very difficult, right? It's very difficult to prevent cheating. This is are there apps and services that you can use to make things more secure? For example, at the university level, they use something called Respondus Lockdown Browser. Do I recommend using that? No, I don't. But at some point, if people are home, right, and they have access to technology and they have access to the web, they can Google question or answers to questions. They can phone a friend, they can message a friend. There's so many things that they can do. But my advice, and this goes into pedagogy, like the science behind teaching, is how do we recreate our questions? How do we recreate our materials and test for critical thinking skills? How do we test for collaboration? So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that question to, but that's my advice, and we can probably cover some of that in advance in the next session, which is the advanced features. But if anybody has questions for me, please don't feel shy to reach out. Mike, I'll share my contact. Where can I share my contact information?
On the chat box, if you can type in your email address or.
Here, let me try it. So I see Q&A, but I don't see the option to kind of just chat openly.
You are the co-host, so you should have that.
It was there before. It was there before. Let me see if I can find it.
Let me get you out of the co-host mode. Can you see it now?
Give me 1 second. No, unfortunately, it's letting me. Here, I think maybe this way I can. Yep, here we go. Yep. All right, give me 1 second. So here's my email address. Here's our website, so you can sign up, and we'll send you two free videos on essentially how to go through this process.
It'll be so much easier. I'll be sending everybody an email anyway. If you wanted to send it to me, then it'll all go in one email.
No problem, inshallah. I'll send you everything as well, and please feel free to reach out to us and guide us on our next sessions. I really wanted to only concentrate on the basics today because, as I mentioned, people are overwhelmed, people are worried, people are wondering how they're going to continue their education. So let's take things in pieces. Let's remember that this is a curriculum, and we don't want to become masters of the curriculum overnight. We just want to be introduced to the curriculum, and I'm confident that everyone is going to do well here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all soon. And please feel free to reach out to me, inshallah.
Inshallah. And I'm really sorry for the people who did not get their questions answered. We have run out of time. It was over 200 people. So inshallah, we'll get this opportunity again. We do a lot of different types of trainings. And tomorrow we're starting a series of how to fundraise for your organization using online methods. You can go on soundvision.com/webinars to look for that and register tonight so that you can get started tomorrow. It will be on weekends, Saturday and Sunday. It's a 5-part series. After that, we are going to do something next week, going digital in a lockdown world, inshallah. There's a bunch of things coming up. So instead of overwhelming you right now, I would suggest that you visit soundvision.com/webinars. And maybe you can do that every week and see which ones you want to attend. Well, thank you very much, Jazakallah khair, Imran. It was a wonderful experience listening to all of this. Very new for some, a lot of people, for me as well. And inshallah, we will see you again. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Assalamu alaikum. Just a small dua. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.